I will go with my father a-plowing to the green fields by the sea, and the rooks and the crows and the seagulls will come flocking after me. I will sing to the patient horses with the lark in the white of the air, and my father will sing the plough song that blesses the clean share. I will go with my father a-sowing to the red fields by the sea, and the rooks and the gulls and the starlings will come flocking after me. I will sing to the striding sowers with a finch on the greening slope, and my father will sing the seed song that only the wise know. Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is M. Black. Some people use Mrs., some people use Mr. I use M because it makes me feel most like myself. I'd like to extend a big welcome to everybody who is watching today. If you are one of my Mountain Sage students, I'd like to tell you that I love you, I miss you, and I carry you around with me in my heart always. If you're a Mountain Sage student who I haven't gotten the chance to meet yet, I can't wait to meet you in the future. If you are age 1, age 101, or any age in between, I'm very, very glad that you're here because you're doing what I think is one of the most important things that human beings can do, to gather together in times of difficulty or hardship and celebrate community through storytelling. It's one of the oldest things that human beings ever invented, and it's very, very important to have these moments of community and togetherness and love in the midst of difficult times. So, I would like to extend also a huge thank you to the festival committee for inviting me to be the guest performer today, and especially to Miss Doherty for teaching all of you the verses that go along with this Dragon Pageant I wrote for Mountain Sage, because of all the love that I have for that amazing school. Also, I know that many of you have probably made star crowns with the help of Miss Albert, so if you haven't yet put that on, now would be the time. If you haven't yet lit a story candle and you have one nearby, now would be the time. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you about how to be a really excellent performer or audience member. Sometimes we act like in the audience, you have to empty your mind of everything and be there, a blank canvas. But I want to remind you that you can come to a performance with whatever you are carrying that day. Maybe you're feeling really excited to get to share in this old, beautiful Mountain Sage tradition. Maybe you're feeling a little bit of sadness or longing because you're really missing your school community and getting to be all together in the same space instead of digitally. Or maybe you're feeling some discomfort or worriedness or anxiety because of some of the dragons you're fighting in your life right now. And that's okay too. No matter where you're at, you can put your feet on the ground. You can relax your shoulders or your jaw. You can take a deep breath and realize you're here right now. And whatever you're bringing is good and enough, and you're allowed to be feeling it as we have this beautiful celebration together. I'm so glad you're here. Without further ado, the annual Mountain Sage Community School Dragon Pageant. here, Michaelmas time. We gather together as sunlight fades, and the Fae folk bring soup in acorn caps and drops of cider on grassy blades. For it is the night of the fairy feast, when our world and Fae are no longer twain, but as the gold sun sets on the emerald hills, the smell of sulfur rises on the rain. The Fae folk gather, they know he is near. Smoke and fire on the breeze, but the Fae folk know you cannot cage a beast, for a dragon must be what a dragon must be. We fairies free, defenders of light, sense the dragon drawing near. So starts his journey. Pull back the veil. We will protect you. Have no fear. Dragon, arise of fire and flame. Dragon, arise with the growing night. But we will defend the mortal realms. Courage, friends. We will fight. A field of farmers is gathering corn. The shepherds put the sheep to bed when suddenly they smell fire on the wind, and their hearts begin to fill with dread. They hide the animals under a willow, the harvest stored safe for future feasts. They gather their sickles and stabs of wood and band together to face the beast. A farmer loves the land they till, shepherd and flock until the end. We will not let you take our valley, nor take the animals we call friends. Dragon, arise of fire and flame. Dragon, arise with the growing night. But we will defend the mortal realms. Courage, friends, we will fight. The dragon saw the strength within their feet and the courage in their eyes, and was pushed back despite himself and leapt into the darkening skies. He flew through pastures and the grain, over mountain, over heath, until he saw a little light shining in a forest old and deep. It was the lantern in the window of an ancient library that held all the stories of the world and fables from antiquity. A band of scholars among the books heard his bellowing and his roars, put down their quills of midnight ink, and ran through the giant wooden doors. We, protectors of stories and tales, we, the keepers of history, we have read the stories of ancient evil, so we will fight to keep all people free. Dragon, arise of fire and flame. Dragon, arise with the growing night. But we will defend the mortal realms. Courage, friends, we will fight. The dragon reeled and stumbled back. He could not believe his onyx eyes. How could they be brave in the face of a dragon? Again, he took to the darkening skies. A dragon's purpose is flame, he thought, to burn, destroy, to break and take. I will find a village that's mine, and humans to scare until they quake. He flew until the smell of salt began to fill the icy clouds, and the forests of old all gave way to leagues of ocean crashing loud. He saw a harbor of brave wooden ships, a village of sailors on the ocean's edge. He knew this was his moment, this was his purpose, and in his heart he made a fiery pledge. As he swooped farther down and landed on the silky sands, a band of explorers came out of the woods with torches and arrows in each of their hands. Stand farther back, beast of old, or we will fight you tooth and nail. There's more to discover, more to explore. You shall not burn our ships nor sails. Dragon, arise, a fire and flame. Dragon, arise with the growing night. But we will defend the mortal realms. Courage, friends, we will fight. The dragon, incensed, roared with rage and lunged toward the setting sun, flying forward ever faster and defeated by bands of humans one by one, lunging forward ever faster, breathing smoke and seeing red. A dragon is meant to bring fire and flame, so why are their hearts not filled with dread? He saw a spark in the distance, an ancient city with walls of white. The setting sun shining on the marble, casting the city in brilliant red light. He roared with the joy of a loveless thing and landed on the cobbled streets, an entire civilization behind those walls, ready to become his feast. But as he swooped farther down, but as he breathed a mighty breath to smite the city and melt the stones, a band of soldiers poured out of the gates to defend their people and their home. He will not breach our walls of stone. He will not burn the bridges black. Together united against the tyrant, now there is no turning back. But face the dragon alone. I will face him if I must, but strength I find when we are one. In you, my friends, I place my trust. Dragon, arise, a fire and flame. Dragon, arise with the growing night. But we will defend the mortal realms. Courage, friends, we will fight. As their arrows stung like bees, their spears and swords scraping his hide, the dragon roared a mighty roar and held back tears in his giant eyes. His screeching brought them to their knees. He turned away so not to cry. He flew until he could barely breathe. He flew until he fell from the scarlet sky. He lay in the road at the edge of the world, full of doubt, full of shame. What good is a dragon who cannot destroy? What good is a dragon without his flames? But as the beast shuddered and wept, and the stars finally began to appear, he heard a song of many voices, filled with joy, filled with cheer. Let every good fellow now join in a song. Viva la compagnie! Success to each other and pass it along. Viva la compagnie! Viva la, 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 viva la compagnie! A friend on your left and a friend on your right. Viva la compagnie! In love and good fellowship, let us unite. Viva la compagnie! Viva la, 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 viva la compagnie! It was a band of traveling players, musicians and actors and acrobats. They wore their hearts upon their sleeves and carried their lives upon their backs. They suddenly stopped when they saw his shape, and all of them were filled with fear. But they saw how heartbroken and alone he was. They were brave enough to slowly draw near. They bandaged his wounds with cloth and salve. They let him try a flagon of ale. They shared their stories and opened their hearts. They wrote him a ballad of his travels and tales. Dragon, we see you as what you are, not a monster always ready to fight. Your purpose in the world is not to burn, but where there is darkness, to bring the light. Though you be fierce and though you be strange, with us you'll always have a home. And whenever you light fires, whenever you sing songs, remember, you are not alone. The dragon laughed a mighty laugh. He knew he was finally free to be gentle or to be kind. The dragon can be what it wants to be. All his life he had wanted power. All his life had been filled with rage. But fire is not just a thing of destruction. And even a dragon can learn to change. He looked around, took a breath. The day had finally come to its end. He let out a stream of blazing fire to create a bonfire for his friends. The dragon and players parted ways, and as they set off with torches held high, he saw his fire carried into the night, and he felt such love he almost cried. From then on, he was not a beast. His purpose was not flames nor fear. The dragon brought light wherever there was none. The dragon sang songs so all could hear. The dragon grew old as he traveled the world, and all would cheer as they saw him approach, for he was a storyteller and a bard who inspired love and inspired hope. But one fall day, as the trees turned red, the whispers of winter were at the door. He reached a village past the edge of his travels, and he circled, too tired to fly anymore. He is a monster, a beast at best. We will not sit idly by and wait for him to burn our village. Shoot him down from the western sky. Our dragon fell and was quickly bound in ropes cutting deep and tight. But another band of the villagers ran to his side, holding candles to cast his face in light. Stop! Wait! Put the axes down! How dare you try to harm this creature? He has traveled from far distant lands, and perhaps he could become our teacher. Look at his eyes! He does not fight back. You have harmed a gentle soul. We can see his true heart shining. It blazes in him, as pure as gold. The villagers saw the dragon's face and were shocked at what they did find. It was not anger. It was not fear. Only love, sad and kind. And in that moment, they dropped their blades and knew what they had nearly done, passing judgment oh too quickly. They nearly were the monstrous ones. They unbound our dragon and bowed in regret. Smoke spiraled from his nose, and in the heart of the village, they built a bed of embers where he could rest his weary soul. And to this day, if you visit this town, they will welcome you with open arms. They feed the hungry, love the loveless, a promise that no strangers would again be harmed. Our ancient dragon lives there still, his scales turning gold as he grows old, telling stories and giving fire to last them through the winter's cold. And though there are dragons in the world who feed on hate and apathy, and though there are beasts inside us all who would burn us up if we let them feed, this dragon learned a different song, learned the balance of light and dark, learned that he was only a beast when there was no compassion in his heart. So when you are afraid, or when you're alone, or when others do not see your worth, find the fire inside yourself. Let it shine onto the earth. Friends, arise of fire and flame. Befriend your dragons. Fight for what's right. We all hold darkness. We all hold brightness. Courage, friends. You are the light. Michaelmas time, with deep furrowed brow. He turns his thoughts against the cold, buries his fears neath the earth's deep mold. Frost like fire glows white on the blade of the iron chair that red fire made. Michaelmas time, time is turning under the plow, under the stars, under the signs, the plowman toils with deep furrowed brow. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that the rest of your fall is magical. I hope that you conquer all of the dragons that you're facing in your life. I love you and miss you very, very much. Thank you for coming. Goodbye.